What was Brooklyn King Radio? It was pirate radio frequency 1002.96. It was raw. It was crazy. It wasn't hood. It was neighborhood. See, if it was going down in New York City or any of the 5 boroughs, we were on it. Before there were podcasts, there was Shoutcast Radio. Before there was iTunes, there was Winamp and LimeWire. And before there was anything called the Breakfast Club, there was already a show in New York with 2 crazy guys and 1 woman keeping it all together. These are the archives of Brooklyn King Radio, the wildest show that you never heard of.
How many of you cats seen that motherfucking NBA brawl, boy? Cause that was the shit. That was the shit.
That was the shit.
Yo.
That shit was like fucking, that was like the main event.
We will never see another thing like that again in history, people. I hope everybody taped that shit. On ESPN, they showed that shit all day. Yeah, 24 hours, they showed that shit. Yep. Them motherfuckers would take a break. 5 minutes later and shit, we're gonna show the brawl again. We're gonna show the brawl again. All right, gonna show the brawl again. That's it. Fuck every other sport that was out there. Somebody got shot. We're gonna show the brawl. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Bottom fucking line, the brawl was the shit. Yeah. And what's even hotter about it is it has so many different fucking angles. Yeah. All right, yo.
They kept the cameras running.
Yo.
They kept the cameras. They keep
it all started with a flagrant foul on Ron Killerman Artest.
We should have known.
Ugly ass Ben Wallace pushed that nigga and shit because Ron Artest is pretty and he's not. So that motherfucker said, "Get your ass off me, nigga." So Ron Artest, he took it. He went back to the scores table and chilled out because he know he got a temper problem. And then the unthinkable happened. Somebody said, toss some motherfucking water on this nigga, not no beer. Ice water for God's sake. Yep. That shit'll kill you.
With lots of ice.
With lots of ice, you know what I'm saying? That's enough to kill the average man. Yeah. These niggas is NBA players. They fragile. They run up and down courts and shit. They always getting their ankles broke and they ain't do nothing but step off a curb. These niggas is fragile. So ice water damn near kill him. So he jumped up. He came to life. This shit was dope. Ron Artest was laying on the table like he was Frankenstein. I swear to God. That white dude tossed that water at that nigga. That nigga rose from the grave. That nigga said, "Yes, master." That nigga got the fuck up. Yo, and he became animated. And what's wild is, no, people, y'all gotta listen to this shit. What's wild is Ron Artest was looking straight up in the sky. Yep. The only nigga that he could see was God. That was it. Somehow or another, he had a sixth sense. He knew exactly who tossed that shit at him. He got up and proceeded to grind that white dude with glasses into a fine paste. All right? And that white dude's like, wait, it wasn't me. That nigga said, I know it was you. And he started hitting him. And so they grabbed Ron Artest. Now, the minute they grabbed Ron Artest, this other sick-ass nigga from the islands, this nigga jumped into the stands. That nigga was fucking up like 2 niggas. First, he duffed a couple of them, and then he went for this one dude at the end. But what's funny was, this cat with the dreads, he ain't give a fuck. He was just fucking up anybody he can get his hands on. It was like he didn't get no pussy the night before, and he was just looking for an excuse. That's the way it looked. So he hit like 2 motherfuckers and shit, right? Now, here go the hot shit. See if you seen this shit, shot. If you watch the whole panoramic view, they're gonna show Ron Artest getting pulled off. Then they're gonna show the dread dude. I think his name is Jackson or something. They're gonna show him fucking up 2 dudes. Now, there's gonna be...
And that's a skinny motherfucker, but that motherfucker jumped in.
Yeah.
He was dabbing, pat.
Yep.
Pat.
That nigga had a set of balls.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, you got Ron Artest and Jackson in the view. Now, if you look to your left side, there's this unfortunate pacer. This nigga, what he's trying to do is, he's trying to pull people off Artest. Because Artest is getting fucked up by the fans and shit. But then this nigga gets jumped by a gorilla. Yo, son.
White suit on.
Yo, this motherfucker, it hasn't been a gorilla attack in years. But there was another gorilla attack that took place at that fucking Pacers game. If you look, that little Pacer is gonna get attacked by that one black ass nigga. That motherfucker gonna be wailing on him, douche. And the shit that's hot is, that nigga was hitting him to where he was just making him shrink. Like that, cause the nigga started off at 6 foot something. That nigga was hitting him and he just choo.
He was off the screen.
Yeah, he was off the screen. Nigga was beating his ass into the fucking ground. I was like, this shit is dope. So now, all right, we're off that shit. So now we go to the next camera angle. The next camera angle, they grabbed Artest. Artest is at the bottom of the court, all right? He's chilling. It's a melee. But Ron Artest he's fine. So here comes this fucking fan. Hey, Ron, did you get something like cock? That motherfucker Ron Artest duffed him. Boosh! Knocked that nigga out. out and made him fall. That nigga fell, and if you listen close, that fat white motherfucker nigga said, yes! That motherfucker knew he was a millionaire. And that was it. So then, right when Artest finished hitting that nigga, there was this other Stay Puft Marshmallow fat motherfucking shit walking up to Artest. Now, this is when history is made. This fat motherfucker sat there and said some shit to Artest. But Artest wasn't paying no mind. But Jermaine O'Neal heard it. From the other side of the court, he heard it. All right? This motherfucker hit a nigga with a punch that we only could dream about. That shit that he hit that kid with beat any blow Mike Tyson ever administered. Now, all you video game heads out there, if you think back to your video game history, around Street Fighter, there was this game called Fatal Fury. Fatal Fury, there's this dude called Terry Bogard. He wore a red hat. One of his moves was the burning knuckle. What he would do is, that motherfucker would dash across the screen and it'd be flame on his fist and he hit you with that shit. That shit take like a good portion of their energy. Jermaine O'Neal somehow played enough Fatal Fury and actually incorporated that shit into real life. I said, oh, that is the shit. And if you sit there and you slow motion that shit, because if you do it the right way, when that nigga hit that fat motherfucker, you'll actually see flame coming from that motherfucker's fist, y'all. It was some spectacular shit. And the force of O'Neal's blow was so much to where that nigga slipped. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. The NBA brawl was the shit. They got rid of Jermaine O'Neal. The whole fans, they was tossing shit at that nigga. It was fucking unreal.